Today's episode is brought to you by issue.com. Look, we all have creative ideas, but how do you take that idea and turn it into a digital asset that you can use on your email, out to your social media, and even on your website? Issue.com helps creators, marketers, designers, and really anyone that wants to make content that stands out. Taking our ideas and transforming them into a marketing piece that can be used in all of our social media can be absolutely maddening. This is why large teams have dedicated marketing people doing nothing but creating and reformatting content for use on all of our platforms. Issue.com solves all of that in an easy to use, make it once and distribute everywhere tool. You can try it free at issue.com. That's ISSUU.com. And if you want premium features like analytics or SEO to help make your content more discoverable, you can get 50% off when you go to issue.com/podcast and use the promo code SuperAgents. That's issue, ISSUU.com/podcast. Use the promo code SuperAgents. Today's episode is brought to you by My Radio Expert. Now, look, every big team that's doing real deals, especially right now, is on radio. There is no better way. There is no better way than radio to reach the right demographic at the right time. It is not Facebook. It's not Google. It is radio. The people who are doing 100, 300, 500 deals, they all know this. And right now, Q4 is always the best time. If you want to supercharge your business, you want more listings, go to myradioexpert.com, fill out the getting started sheet, and let's see if you're a good fit. Or you can just send me an email. Send it to superagentslive@gmail.com. All right, let's get to the episode. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Today in the show, I'm excited to have today's guest. Today's guest is, he is widely considered the guru of real estate. He's helped thousands of real estate agents build their wealth in business. He says their success has come due to him being a mental scientist and having the best mindset in America. He's written 15 best-selling books, and I'm thrilled to welcome Dr. Hank Seitz. Dr. Hank, thanks for taking the time out.
Well, you bet, Toby, and thank you. And I just love what you're doing at Super Agents Live and how you're giving back. And it's really phenomenal to help people become their greatest possibility. And that's what you're doing with your show, man.
No, it is. And it's great to help people. And it's fun to I think, unwind all the things as I go along. I think the difficult thing about writing a book or doing a show is really trying to go, okay, what is the one thing that I should be digging into, right, for this chapter, for this episode, that can help the most amount of people, right? So what are the I'll ask a question, because this is a question that I often sort of ask myself.
Sure.
Right? If I look at 100 top performing people, right, or agents, however you want to time it, it doesn't really matter, right? If I look at 100 really top performing people, what is the one thing that all those people will have in common, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and so I think a great way to answer that is to begin with, let's take a more broader perspective and think about this idea of thoughts becoming things. And I have actually interviewed hundreds. In fact, I've had 500 podcasts where I've interviewed the top agents, brokers, real estate professionals in America. And I've asked them, what's their secret? And most of them say the first step to anything is their mindset. Now, the challenging thing is people typically don't understand what that really means. They think like, oh, just think positive or whatever, and so I can add some light to that. And I hope that, all of us today really listen to this and emerge ourselves, Toby, into these thoughts, because you'll be able to discover how your thoughts will become things. And it all starts with science. And science, about 5 years ago, have all come to different disciplines, and microbiologists, quantum physicists, that all of the disciplines identified on how to create anything. So for us to think about, how do we create our dreams? And so they said it takes 3 steps. And the first step, and the most important step, is it's our thought. So it's your thought. It's not anybody else's. Doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. That we are literally the creators of our own experience, and we are so by our thoughts. So the first step is thought. Then the scientists say, to create anything in your life, that those thoughts create an energy. And so, Einstein said everything is energy. And in fact, everything is energy. Our thoughts actually are energy. And with our thoughts, we can attract different energies of what we want or what we don't want. And so that energy, though, that comes from our thought is actually our emotions. So step 2, step 1 is our thoughts, Toby. And then step 2, it's our all-powerful emotions. So when we can feel it, like feel having more business, feel closing that deal, whatever it could be, feel attracting the person, the soulmate of your life, whatever it is, that it's those all-powerful emotions. And then step 3 is that it turns, according to the scientists, that energy, those emotions, then turn into matter, matter. The way that we can look at it, again, I'm a mental scientist, and so I have my PhD in that, and that's what I learned, discovered, and then went beyond that and realized that this is how thoughts become things. What do you think about that, Toby?
Well, here's what I think. So. Well, that sounds very much like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and I know that's a big, that book and Napoleon Hill has been an influence on you. And and what Napoleon Hill will say in that book, he'll say, you come up with your idea, come up with a thing that you would want, and what he will say is create a white hot heat of desire, right? So that falls in line with what you were saying, right? I come up with this thing that I want, right? My thoughts, my ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And then I create a white hot heat of desire, the emotion around it. And anytime that I can, if that's true, there's times where I've been able to do that, create a white hot heat of desire around a thing, an outcome. And if I can get so emotionally riled up about it, and that's literally that is all I've been consumed for years with ideas in the past, right? I've created that white hot heat of desire so burning hot that I was literally unstoppable. The problem, I mean, there's some downsides to becoming unstoppable, right? Because, and we can talk about the downsides, but I think there's 2 problems with this. Okay. Number 1, there's a downside of building that truly white hot heat of desire, and that downside somewhat is that for me, all that matters is the goal. All that matters is the goal. It doesn't matter who gets in my way. It doesn't matter who I have to hurt. It doesn't matter, honestly, if I maybe tell a little lie here or there, right? Because the important thing is my goal. So that's sort of like a downside to it. The other piece of it is, I think when you say, not you or Napoleon Hill, right? Your thoughts. It's important that this is you manifest the thing that you want. I think a lot of people don't know what they want, right? I think that's why so many people, love social media, and they're like, oh, I guess I want a Lamborghini because everybody that I see that's, successful in social media, right? They're hanging out with a Lamborghini, right? But when it comes down to it, man, they might just want an F-150 truck, but you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of
Yeah.
people are devoid of truly their own ideas.
Sure, sure. And let me help you with all that, because um, that downside, that there never has to be a downside. And so I'm going to share with you now my teaching. And my teaching is a little bit different than what the scientists had identified as the steps to create. And the big difference is, and I'm going to use a word here, a big word, and there's a lot of definitions for this word, but what the scientists forgot was God. And so you could use the universe, you could use the law of attraction, whatever word feels comfortable. But I like using the word God because most people have been brought up about this God thing. In fact, I'm actually an ordained minister, went 4 years into seminary school to understand this God thing. So actually, my teaching is 5 steps to create whatever you want. But the beautiful thing is, we only need to do 2 of those steps, but there are 5. So the first step is your thought, just like the scientists. And immediately, your thought creates an emotion. Now, what's great about our emotions is they're actually the communication with our higher self, with God, the universe, however you want to look at this, that it's the communication that when you feel bad, so which means you have a thought, and then that creates instantly a feeling. So you don't have to work at that, if you will, it'll happen. And when that feeling feels bad, it means you're not thinking about this subject, whatever you're thinking about, the way that your higher self is, your greater self is, and your higher power is. And when you feel good, however, it means you're on your lighted path. It means it's the next step to getting what you desire. And it is about these desires, but it is nothing about the path of least resistance to get where we want. Has nothing to do with telling white lies, with stepping on people, none of that. That when we ask, God makes more of it. It doesn't get in anybody's way. An example of that is money. Most people have asked for money and not gotten it, and I'll help every one of us today to understand how to get money, okay, and really anything that you want. But there were no billionaires 50 years ago. Now there's over 1,500 billionaires. Where'd the money come from? Did we implant it from some other planet? No. That what we did is we asked for it, and more came. And so it doesn't have to, nobody has to say white lies. Nobody has to run over people. None of that. In fact, the divine path to everything that we desire is this beautiful path where everybody wins. So back to these steps. Step 1 is your thought. It creates this emotion. And so if you're creating an emotion that feels good, you know that you're on your path and you're thinking about this the way that you should. Step 3 is that emotion becomes like a signal that you're sending to your higher self, God, the universe, your higher power, that you're sending out, and God, if you will, is hearing your prayer through your emotion, because it's the perfect way. English is not a good way, or Spanish. Any language is not a very effective way of communication, but precise communication is with our feelings. And so that's why, in fact, in the book, Think and Grow Rich on Napoleon Hill's, I rewrote his book and called it Think, Feel, and grow rich, because it's all about this feeling, because that's the truth of where you are. And that energy, that emotion in step 2 goes to God, and God instantly receives your prayer and answers it. So the bottleneck on why, because it's in energy form now, everything we've asked for, the person in the bed, the car in the garage, the money in the bank, any and everything that you've asked for, it is actually waiting for you for step 4. And what I call step 4 is Abe, and that is allow it, believe it, and expect it. And when you allow, believe, and expect, that then step 5 is you will receive. So that's why ask and you shall receive. Now we know, or thoughts become things. Now you understand the process of how those thoughts created emotion. That emotion is then the signal to the universe, God, all that is, and it is receives and answers. And step 4 is all we need to do is allow it, to believe it. And that's why it's done unto us as we believe. And then we will receive it. So what did you like best about that, Toby?
Well, see, you were trained, Dr. Ing, right? Like, okay, what did you like best? Not like what did you disagree with or what did not make sense. No, look, so here's how I'd say to that. I'd say first, I mean, okay. I don't necessarily disagree with you at all. And I think there's more agreement in us than most people might think.
Sure.
However, I will say that when you start talking about God, that a lot of people literally just clicked off the podcast. They're like, okay, this guy is a kook, right? And whether that's a right way of thinking or wrong way of thinking, that's just the fact of the matter, right? A lot of people just go, that guy's a kook, right? This guy says he's a quote scientist, but then he believes in God. Now I will tell you that I have 2 degrees, and one of them is also in religious studies, because this whole God thing when I was younger was something that I wanted to figure out. I wanted to figure out what this thing was, and and if it existed, and how I could tap into it.
Sure.
So I have a little bit of a both academic background in this matter as well. So look, I say all that to say this: it really doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if the people listening believe in God or they don't believe in God for this process to work, right? Because this process will work, whether you have a belief in a higher power or not. You just have to follow this thing, right? The trick is, right, getting people to follow the recipe. Right? People go, oh, I have the thought, I have the motion, the signal, I don't believe in the God thing, so I'm not going to send the signal out there, right? However it might be. So, Look, okay, so let's say that you and I are completely aligned in this, and we believe that all this could happen, and does happen. And then everybody goes, okay, I'm gonna get my thought and my emotion and my signal, right? I'm gonna get them all lined up on being a billionaire. Right. And then, 5 years, 6 years later, they're like, oh, I'm worse off than I was 5 years ago. Right. That's the fact of the matter. So my question to you is let's assume that I agree with everything you said, and let's assume that I agree with your process that you outlined. Like, why are people following the process and not getting results? Like where are people?
It's a great question, Toby. I just love the question, because most people are thinking, hey, I've asked for whatever, okay, and where's my stuff? So most people are in this position of asking, where's my stuff, which, by the way, is doubt and not belief. And so, first of all, I would not ask to be a millionaire, I would not ask to be a billionaire. I would use softer words, things like, I would like to be independently wealthy. I'd like to grow my business. I'd like to have more money, just to ease into it, because So biblically, in Matthew 17, it says, when two of you agree, it shall be manifested on earth. Well, the two of us are our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. So you can say all day long, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire. And what will happen, your conscious mind says, I am a millionaire. And your subconscious mind says, BS.
Right. You'll never do it. You can't do it. Right.
Yeah, you've been telling me, because the conscious mind runs everything. Okay, so your subconscious mind has recorded and remembered every thought you've had since conception, every thought you've had, every feeling you've had, every experience you've had. Well, think how many times you said, oh, I can't afford that, or oh, that's too expensive, or oh, I don't have enough money, or oh, so it's back to step one. So your question is, what happened, man? I asked for stuff and I didn't receive the stuff. And so I'll give you an example on how easily to look at this. Let's say we wake up in the morning, and I do coaching, and I coach people around actually the world. And in my coaching, that I help in a very easy way, help them to understand. And I have a process every morning called the Joy Shop that you can do that actually will improve your thinking process, because it's really, remember, step one is this thinking, and it's critical because it starts everything. Well, let's say we wake up in the morning and we do this Joy Shop, and I start thinking, and I'm thinking about what a wonderful day I'm going to have. I'm in a state of appreciation, of appreciating that I woke up this morning. There's so much to appreciate. And just a simple thing, I laughed this morning, somebody smiled this morning at me, whatever. And so there's so many things to appreciate. So I'm my prayer, if you will, my asking, my thought is, let's call it yellow. And this yellow golden, this just beautiful, bright thoughts that I've been having. But during the day, so I have this yellow, let's call it a yellow paint, imagine yellow paint. And during the day, I start running into contrast. And so a deal goes south, somebody, frowns at me, someone yells at me, whatever. And now I start thinking about this and these things that I don't want. So a real easy way to look at how to know if you're thinking properly, am I thinking about what I want or what I don't want? So now people start thinking about what they don't want, and that takes them to the next thought about something else. And
Dr. Hank, sorry, I don't want, let me interrupt you. So I think you're at 100% right on track, and I wanted to stop just because I want to make sure everybody still listening, right, is keying in on this, right? What happens is, right, we start thinking if we have 100% of our brain energy, right, and let's say we can harness 20% of it to say, okay, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to make, this year's the year I finally make $100,000 a year, whatever it might be, right? 20% of our brain is aligned with that, but we have 80%, right, of our mind, right? Well, conscious and subconscious, who's telling me why that's not going to happen, or why I'm not going to achieve that, or why I can't do that. And I think that is a huge problem, right? Because if I go back to the thing that I asked earlier, right, 100 top performers, what is the one thing they all have in common? I think one thing that all those people that have in common, the top performers, is they believe, right? They're like, I'm going to make $100,000 or be a millionaire, or whatever it might be, right? They say that, and then they believe it, right? Their unconscious mind and their conscious mind, right, consciously what they're striving toward, are in alignment. And the longer people can stay in alignment, the farther you're gonna get. And but once you have the hidden part of you, your unconscious mind, start to attack the goals that your conscious mind has set up, right? Now you're in trouble. And it's really hard to turn that boat around because people get keyed in on what their conscious mind is saying. No, I'm gonna do this. I want this. I'm gonna manifest this. But they're fundamentally battling themselves, and they don't know it, right? And sometimes.
And it doesn't have to be that way, though, Toby. It doesn't have to be that way, and that's the beauty of this. That when I'm thinking about the yellow, okay, and then I'm thinking about the things I don't want, the red, so let's call that red, when we mix that yellow and that red paint, that what you come up with is orange. And so people are in essence saying, but I didn't ask for oranges, when in fact they did.
Right.
And so nobody's really working against us to include our subconscious mind. More, I call it the committee, and it's this little chattering box in our conscious mind, and it's chattering away. And there's actually 4 areas of thought that I get into in some of my top performers for real estate agents in my training process, where there's 4 areas of thought, and 3 of those areas aren't any good for us. They give us more of what we don't want. And particularly this area where we're thinking about what we don't want, and we're doing it intentionally. And so it's like we're thinking about, oh, I can't believe that this deal went, south. And then I Facebook and I talked to a bunch of people. And what we're doing is we're creating energy to create more of what we don't want.
Yeah.
So the easy way of doing this is to just be focused on and to ask for, I want to feel better. Because if you feel better, you will be directed to more of these thoughts of what you do want, more answers, more solutions that will make your dreams come true. So it's this all-important step 1 of our thoughts, and why that, and again, the number one thing in top performers that they have is their mindset. It's without question their mindset, because your mindset creates your thoughts, create everything in your life. Now, the second point you shared, Toby, was, but these top performers, that they think it, right, correct, and then they believe it. Well, that belief, if I'm thinking like, I'm going to be a millionaire, probably that's not going to happen. Okay. But if we just take it one step, what feels better? What can my subconscious mind accept? So I literally have magical sentences that I provide that help to go around, if you will, the subconscious mind, and for the subconscious mind to accept ideas that are a lot gentler, a lot easier, and will make you feel better, and will get you to what you want. So this end in mind, and the billionaire, the millionaire, whatever, that odds are, if you keep on thinking that in 5 years, you are going to be disappointed. In fact, it'll take you down, because,
Yes.
If I just say, hey, I want to feel better, because remember, the thoughts lead to feelings, and those feelings and good feelings means you're on your lighted path. So if we just take that as the equation, I want to feel better. If I feel better, that the subconscious mind is going to be given thoughts by me that it can accept, because we have many beliefs that don't serve us. One of the reasons why most people don't like the God word or whatever is because they've been brought up with at certain churches and not to mention specific ones, but really they're all saying a different message about one thing, the Bible and what Christ said, whatever, and that there's a lot of confusion with that. Like, for example, the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, I always thought the meek were a bunch of twerps, weaklings, no backbone, whatever. But that's not what it means at all. It means when I'm easy, when I'm relaxed, when I meditate, because then I can go to my higher power, let's call it. I can get better ideas about answers and solutions. And so there is literally a way. So this intensity on, oh, I'm going to get my goal and everything, just forget all that. That's kind of old school about doing it. It is building this soft, gentle, loving energy. And wow, I just love that I'm growing my business and making it easy to where your pathway will be easy and you'll get all of your dreams coming true.
Okay, so let me tell you how I might restate some of that.
Sure.
I think I think when we ask for something, right? Most people are listening to this show because they're like, I want to learn something to build my business, and if I build my business, I can have a better life, and and that
Yep.
that will that looks a billion different ways to a billion different people.
Right.
And I think when people go, okay, how do I improve my life? They immediately go, okay, if I had more money, right, then my life would be better. Okay, so then it's natural for them to set out their goals and to think during the day. Okay, money is the thing that I'm going to ask for. Money is the thing that I'm going to want. However, how I might readjust people is, and how I'm trying to constantly readjust myself is that if I think of money, money is a byproduct of adding value to someone's life, right? Like if I go and if a car breaks and I fix it, and you pay me for that, right? Like I'm adding value, right? Even Bezos, right? Bezos got way richer during this pandemic because he had this method of shopping where I didn't have to go anywhere. He's adding value to my life, right? Like Uber, right? All these. So, and I think if I want more money, right, the question I need to be putting out into the universe is a sort of a Dale Carnegie idea, right? Like, how can I add more value to Dr. Hank's life? How can I add more value to the people around me, right? Because if I can add value, right? Carnegie says if you can help people get what they want, right, you're going to get everything that you want, right? So I think that is, even though it's nebulous, I think that is a better approach, a better mindset. How do I add value to my client, right? My client wants to sell his house. Okay, what does value look like to him? Is it the most money? Is it the fastest sale? Is it no headaches, right? How do I add value to this person? And if I start thinking about adding value to each individual, right, in a custom way that I come across during the day or the week, instead of just my thing. Oh, here's Dr. Hank. How do I get more money? Oh, Toby, how do you see what I'm saying? So I think that is how maybe a better way to, in my mind, to
So and that is definitely an approach, and as long as it feels good, that hey, and it should to I think most people that hey, I want to provide more value to others, and that's a great approach. What I'm sharing with you is even a bigger picture, and so let me ask, and just for the audience, for everybody to think that why do you want stuff? When I got my first $1 million, I was then after my next $1 million. Like, why is that? What happens? We always seem to have desires, no matter how much I have achieved, realized, etc., that there's always been the next thing.
Yep.
Well, here's the answer in very, again, simplistic way, is that we want things because we believe they will make us feel better.
Right.
And when we feel better, we're more lined up with our greater selves, with who we really are. So it's this idea about feeling better. And so, yes, to serve other people is one way, and add more value to people is one way for me to feel better. And in exchange for that value is money. Now, again, taking money for itself, see, we have these beliefs on, for example, money. I'm not supposed to love money. And why aren't you supposed to love money? Because the Bible said that the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, that actually isn't what the paragraph said. It's a misunderstanding. What it was saying is that God's first and then money. But most people, so we as children, when we hear that and our adults tell us, our church teacher, our other teachers at school, when they tell us stuff, that we think, oh, this is the truth. That's children. And so we start having these beliefs. And so even though we say, oh, no, I don't believe that most people have these things that are basically these beliefs that have been buried in them. The good news is, and what I teach is, that you can overcome all this chattering, all these subconscious beliefs that no longer serve you, that look at them as simply shadows. And they are shadows. And when you start thinking about the things that you want, that you desire, that you like, that you love, as you start thinking about those things, you start feeling better, and you become the light, if you will. You become the light of the world. And what happens when you shine your light on a shadow? It goes away. So that's why people say, oh, but here's a great example of real estate right now. Most agents are out there saying there's not enough inventory. And I'm just squealing, giggling about that, because if you say there's not enough inventory, in your experience, it will happen that you will experience not enough inventory. Now, I have agents who I coach with, who have taken my training, et cetera, that they have, like, I have one agent that just closed 4 listings in the last 6 weeks and has 3 more listings coming up. Well, how can that be? They weren't doing any listings a year ago, okay? And how can that be with, it's because they created with their mindset. They realized whatever, and maybe something for everybody to write down, whatever I focus my attention on grows. So I'm not going to focus my attention on the lack, the limitation, the things that I don't like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus my attention on the things that I desire, that I like, that I love. And what is that? Well, hey, I want more listings. And there is a way, if you will start thinking that. I just talked to an agent before our show today, Toby, and that agent said, oh my God, I did what you said. And in the last 3 weeks, I did what you said. And I already have 1 listing. I have another buyer, and I have 3 other people that are interested in listing their house with me. And it's like, well, how does this happen? I thought there isn't any inventory, but it's what I focus on. So don't focus on anything that you don't like. The other thing that
sorry, Dr. Hank. Yeah, let me just jump in here. So
bet.
Here's I listened to what you just said, and I think, let me just give you my thoughts on that, because I'd like to get your take on this. I think what happens is our brain is just a computer, right? And the emotions are sort of separate from the computer, the mechanics of our brain. And when we have this, we fundamentally put an hypothesis out into the world, right? In this case, and your example was this person saying they're hypothesizing that there's not enough inventory, right? There's no inventory, right? Maybe that's such a weird way to say it, right? There's no inventory. Well, it's clearly not true that there's none. But what happens is when we put this hypothesis in our head, there's no inventory. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make $100,000 or whatever. I can't do it, right? Whatever it might be. I think what happens is our brain starts to litigate that, right? We start to prove subconsciously that hypothesis. Okay, there's no inventory. Let me look at the market, and all I'm going to see is the lack of inventory. Oh, last year or the year before that or the year before that, last April it was this, this many went under contract in XYZ. And I think that's the danger, right? If we tune our radar towards a particular thing, right, we're going to start proving that hypothesis. We're tuning our radar to that thing, and so
exactly,
you're right.
Yep. And so another easy way to look at that is think of a radio station, and you're turning the knob, if you will, to the station. So what station do you want to be part of? Do you want to be part of the lack and the limitation station? If so, turn it to that. Turn your attention, your focus to that. However, there have been in every market in the United States thousands of homes last month that have been listed and sold, and there will be this month and next month, and it will continue. Do you want to be part of that, or do you want to fight? So what happens is most people fight for their lack and limitation. And they go, no, really? And I can show you, and they will show me, because whatever
That's
I
right.
focus my attention on, I'll attract compatible components that come about. So then, hey, and Joe doesn't have any, and Mary doesn't have, Jose doesn't have any, and so it ends up that whatever you think, you're right. And so what are you going to think about? And again, the easy way of doing it, the only thing that I would say, Toby, is like saying that your thoughts and your emotions aren't tied, they are very tied. And the way to prove that is just to think about, I don't know, some sad event, death of a loved one, whatever, and check your emotions. You're not elated and not real happy. Or think about the deal you just closed and the money that just came in, and look at your emotions. So they are directly tied. And the good news is, too, our mind isn't some computer. Our mind is, we have the freedom to be able to think any thought at any given time. And we all have the power to feel good right now based on our thoughts.
Agreed, right? Everything you said, I agree with. I think here's what I'm driving at. I'm driving at is, here's my hypothesis, right? So you and I are more in alignment than not with all the things that we've been talking about.
Right.
I think the question I would have for you, don't try to answer this, but my question is like, okay, how do we keep our thoughts tuned to the one thing and the right thing, right? We've already said, okay, well, you might not want to think about $1 million. You might want to think about adding value, right? Like, and I think at the end of the day, right, we all have this chattering in our brains. And there's a lot of, you can do it, Toby, right? You can do that. And there's a lot of another kind of chattering which says it's not going to happen. There's no inventory. Look at old Mike. Mike's doing, he's been crushing the last 5 years, and even Mike's suffering, and you've never been as good as Mike, right? Like there's that kind of suffering or that kind of chattering going on. And I think at the end of the day, right, for a person to really get appropriate aligned and to stay in alignment, I don't think this is something that people can do on their own, right? I do. This is where I do believe that coaching really does have a real role in people's lives, and because it's so easy to fool ourselves, right? I want to add value to people's lives. That's I'm gonna put that out into the universe. That's the thing I'm gonna think about, and then all of a sudden, right, the reality of the world kicks in. There's no inventory, and I'm not doing as good as Mike, and all those things. And I think you need a third person, right? You talked about shadow ideas, right? You need a third person to say, no, dude, that image you're seeing, that's a shadow, dude. That's not reality. Okay,
Right,
the reality
right.
is just to the right of that.
You bet. And, every successful person has a coach, that whether it's sports, CEOs, I just met with a CEO on Saturday, in fact, that, that people that need to get to the next level. I have coaches. I have 3 coaches around the world. I have one in Australia. I have one in England, and actually 3 in the U.S. I'm not on a regular basis with them, but I have coaches as well, and to help me with different things that I just need to tweak a little and to be able to do. So you're exactly right. You need coaches. Now, what I also, though, have is the beautiful thing is that there are actually techniques, if you will, things you can do every day for about 20 minutes that will literally change your life. And because it's about this changing your thinking. And so people can get in contact with me. I would give them, if they contact me, I will give them those answers, if you will, in 20 minutes, how to begin one step after the next to improve your life. And so there are techniques and ways to be able to improve your thinking. And there are magical sentences that if you will write down magical sentences, they will literally increase whatever you want. And I'll give one fun example, and I want everybody to think about, let's lighten up, let's have more fun, let's play, let's not take all this stuff so serious. So one way to get more money is to clap your hands, literally clap your hands together, have your fingers straight up like that, clap your hands and go, easy money, easy life, easy money, easy life, easy money, easy life. And as you create that energy, then you'll start seeing that all of a sudden some easy money and then an easy life starts coming to you. And so it is easy, that it's about feeling good. So it doesn't have to be this tough road. And would a coach like me help? Absolutely. Get you there faster. There are other, trainings available, books available in order to, help all of us become our greatest possibility.
We have about 12 minutes left here,
okay.
Dr. Hank. What do people, honestly, man, what do people say because you said that earlier in this conversation? You said, I have these magic senses. And I think once you start, I'm just going to share this with you. This is me, right?
Sure.
Once you start, I believe in God. Okay. I'm not a guy that dismisses it. And I believe that God works. I don't exactly know how to tap into God. Okay. And say, okay, God, help me achieve my next million. Right. And I don't think, I'm convinced that he's not there to do that, at least for me today. But when a person starts talking about God and they start saying, I have magical sentences, like I think that most people understand building a business is hard. And I don't know. What is your response, man? Because again, I think you and I met. Seriously, I think you and I met. I was at a conference. Back in Oregon. I was slated to speak. I had 2 sessions, and I ran into you in the hallway, and I think you were speaking there. And
yeah.
What do people say, Dr. Hank, when you go, oh, I have these magic sentences,
sure,
and clap your hands? It just seems so. You know what I'm saying? It seems.
Yeah. So here's I'll tell you the dynamics that are going on. One of the major issues, challenges, roadblocks, if you will, is most people believe you have to work hard. You have been brought up to believe that. You've witnessed your father or whatever, he worked hard and then he finally made it. So whatever we believe, it's done on to us as we believe. So I don't work hard. In fact, I don't even use that word, work. I use the word play. It's a lot more, hey, honey, I'm going to go play today. It's a lot lighter. It's a higher vibration. But here's specifically on the magical sentences, that recall that who's in control is your conscious mind. But you have been talking with your conscious mind to your subconscious mind about a lot of, in fact, I have one of my books is called Your Royal Path to Riches, and it's all about this on these tapping into the subconscious mind. So your conscious mind has said too many times about, gee, I got to work hard to make this. Gee, money is tough to get. It's the root of all evil, the filthy rich, it doesn't grow on trees, all this stuff. It's just incredible on how many things we have said to ourselves and thought about things we don't want, okay? And a great example is breast cancer, and men get breast cancer too, and that everybody's fighting against breast cancer. Well, what did I tell you? I told you whatever you focus your attention on grows. What has happened? It's grown, because all breast cancer is dis ease. We're not ease. We're not the meek, if you will. And to hook up with God, it's this idea about meditation. And it's not asking for $1 million. Again, my asking would be one simple thing, and that is, I want to feel better. And when you feel better, you'll start getting answers and solutions to the things that you want. You'll raise your point of attraction to the things that you want versus what you don't want. So the magical sentences are, hey, I got these beliefs where if I say I want more money, my subconscious mind it isn't going to believe that. It's as easy as asking, okay, that it's hard to do. I'm not going to be able to do it. There's not enough out there. Look at all these people with not enough, etc. And so thus you won't get it. But if you say something that is a little bit easier, such as I easily accept new prosperity thoughts, well, right there, your subconscious mind says, hey, no problem. I can easily accept new prosperity thoughts. And that opens up a whole window of opportunity about prosperity that had never been there before because we never asked for it. And so it's this idea, back to what you were saying, Toby, most people don't know what they want. And so I can help people with that here's what most people want: a long, happy, healthy, wealthy life. If you'll just keep it simple and start out simple, when you get too specific, you're going to run into your subconscious mind and your buried beliefs that don't agree with it. And thus, you won't create it here on earth.
Yes.
And so for your dreams to come true, it's about you asking for what you want, feeling good, and then being in this state of allowing and believing and expecting that it's all coming to you now. And it will, my friends.
Yes, I agree, and I think I just want to point this out real quick, Dr. Hank, is that when people think, I think it's very important when we think about these things, in terms of our goals and what we want, right? That we use language that maybe we don't commonly use. And people might go, I want to be rich. But then somewhere in their unconscious, their mind, right, their grandma one time told them when they're 6, right, all rich people are X, right? All rich people are liars or thieves or whatever it might be, right? And then so then all of a sudden, right, they go, I want to be rich, but they are literally within themselves are in conflict because they're like, oh no, I'm rich, but grandma told me rich people are bad people. Rich people are whatever crazy thing grandma told you, right? But however, grandma never said anything about prosperous people, right? So if you, so I think that's a really important and fundamental thing that we begin, if we're going to reshape our future, we need to reframe how we look at the thing, right? Don't look at it as riches, maybe look at it as being prosperous, right? Don't look at it as, or wealth, right? Because, so anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it. And it's really about, how do I think, and then how do I feel? And the good thing is you don't really need to monitor your thoughts, just monitor your feelings. As long as you're feeling good, you're there. And so I've helped people that, I've had bad relationships for years with their relatives or spouses or whoever. And I've helped them literally overnight change it. Because remember, the conscious mind can, if you can be thinking about something where the subconscious mind can accept, and a little bit kind of around the subconscious mind, if you will, that what will happen is you will manifest a better relationship. But most people are thinking about what they don't like about the person, and that makes them
That's
worse.
Right. That's right. They just start seeing that thing everywhere. It's the whole new car thing. So, Dr. Hank, I know you've written a bunch of books. And I'm going to ask for a book recommendation, and I have to tell you, you can't recommend your own. So, if they're listening to this and, they're like, okay, there's something to that, right? I want to know more about this. Like, what is a book out there that you would say, go read this book first before you dig into some of mine? Like, what is a good primer on changing your mindset or managing your subconscious or...
Well, Yeah, I think that a real good start would be Napoleon Hill's book that we talked about already, Think and Grow Rich. Then you can go in his original manuscript, they edited out 37 times the word vibration because this whole thing, he was already way out there in the 1930s and was tough to accept, so the publisher took that out. So I rewrote that and then did Think, Feel, and Grow Rich. But I would start there. I think that's a good one. And it's really to start within you and to be thinking about, just asking, like, I want to feel better. And then anybody can feel free to reach out to me. You can do on YouTube, it's Dr. Hank, and then Seitz, S as in Sam, EITZ. You can email me, drhank at drhank.biz, B-I-Z. So Dr. Hank at drhank.biz, or you can text me, call me, 214-753-7204. That is a start, and it's a matter of inspired action. If you're inspired after what Toby and I have been talking about today, take action. And it might be go get Think and Grow Rich. Go
Right.
Google subconscious mind or whatever. There's some other good books about the subconscious mind. But again, you don't have to get real bogged down. You don't need a PhD in this. We've made it simple. And there's different training that I have, books, and personal one-on-one coaching. So just know that everything is coming to you, that just start asking more about what you want versus what you don't want, and ask to feel good and just feel better. Ask for more laughter today, more smiles today, and you'll see that it'll all come to you.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to have one more question here, Dr. Hank, and then I'm going to let you go. And it's this, right? Because what you said just a minute ago, you said, hey, if you've been inspired, go take action, right? Go find a book, go read Napoleon Hill's. And I think at the end of the day, right, wishful thinking's not going to get anyone anything, right? Maybe I'll feel better, but when it comes to my bank account, I can't wish more zeros into there, right? I must take action. And I think if I go back to the initial question, right, 100 top producers, what do they all have in common? One thing I will say is all those people are great at time management. All those people are great at taking action. And so here's my last question to you, Dr. Hank, is, you've written 15 books, you coach a bunch of people, right? You've made a bunch of money, all this stuff that has worked in your life. Do you today, Dr. Hank, do you have a daily routine or habit that you think has contributed to your success?
Absolutely. And it is a joy shop in the morning that includes meditation, and it's writing out things of appreciation, things of what I desire, and then literally pre-paving my day. So PRE-PAVING. So I call it the way that I want it. And we all have that power to co-create that. It's a matter of our thought. So instead of thinking about what you don't want, you think about what you want. And I thought today about how great Toby and I would get along, what a great show it would be, how inspiring it would be, how the perfect thoughts and the perfect words would just flow into the minds and hearts of each one of you. And so the prayers have been answered. And that is that routine to do it. And you're right, time management is important, that I actually teach time management. Once you have the thinking down, because 99% of everything that we have comes from our thought. It's only 1% of the actual doing it. That's why we don't have to work hard. It's getting that perfect thought of the easy way of being a magnet to attracting clients, attracting more money, attracting more fun times and playful times. That as you get that, then time management is critical to be able to have all the time that you want in the world. And that's another thing you can start asking for, because what have most people asked for? They've said, oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I'm too busy. And what happens? You get get busier and you get more, not enough time.
Right.
So think about what we're asking for and then start saying, I'm going to change this. And there are ways in order to do it. They're easy, they're fun. And I'd love to hear from anybody that wants to become their greatest possibility and their dreams to come true for them.
Awesome. Well, everybody go check out Dr. Hank. Send him an email with your questions, whatever it might be. Hey, Dr. Hank, I appreciate the time today for sure.
Well, Toby, I really enjoyed the time with you. It was an awesome time. You're awesome. Keep on blessing the world, man, and all of us. I appreciate you and appreciate all of you out there. And thank you so much. And know that everything that you want is coming your way.
Boom. All right, Doctor. I'll talk to you soon, man. Go get him.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Let's go.